Hello, everyone, and good afternoon, or if you're over on the West Coast, good morning, and welcome to our webinar on Cracking USA Jobs, our Lunch and Learn. We are here today with our host, Kim Marshall from the Environmental Protection Agency. Kim is from the EPA's Office of Pesticide Programs and Information Technology Resources Management Division. And I should have introduced myself. You've probably received many emails from me. I'm Jen DeRosa. I am the program coordinator from Environmental Science and Policy Program and also Energy Policy and Climate. I'm usually one of the ones that's helping to bring the Energy and Environmental Speaker Series to you. And also behind the scenes, but helping to moderate the chat today is Tasha Overpeck. She is our brains behind the events planning here at Johns Hopkins University Advanced Academic Programs. So always special thanks to Tasha. Another thing that I'd like to do is introduce our panelists today who are going to be talking with Kim from the EPA and getting her special insight into the USA Jobs platform and into how to really leverage those ins and outs to seek that government job and career that they're trying to crack into. And so the panelists that you'll see today and later when I change the screen in our webinar, you'll see them over on the side talking at different times. First, I'll introduce Diana Muller. Diana is a graduate of Johns Hopkins University. She has a bachelor's degree in chemistry and a Master of Science degree from Johns Hopkins in environmental sciences and policy. And over her career, she's worked her way up from lab and field technician in environmental and pharma labs to lab supervisor and lab director, QA and QC officer and director of science and small nonprofits. She's managed people and budgets and programs, and Diana has performed various science communications for a multitude of platforms, reviewed peer-reviewed papers and educational backgrounds for science education and environmental policy. And Diana is interested in a position where she can integrate her scientific technical background with environmental policy issues. Michael Strasberg is another panelist that we have here. He is a student at JHU. Michael is a professional engineer in the state of Maryland. He's certified project management professional. He's currently stationed in the U.S. Naval Research Laboratory on a 2-year assignment supporting the startup of Naval Facilities Engineering Command and U.S. Army Corps of Engineers program, which ends in August. As a mid-senior professional, he has returned to Johns Hopkins to complete his master's in energy policy and climate, and he is eventually hoping to work towards a PhD in infrastructure, resiliency, and energy. And his experience portfolio includes supporting the global private sector in roles as senior program manager of an international power program and director for now the largest AE firm in the world. So he is seeking a transitionary role in leadership where he can apply his technical background to policy and program level solutions. And our third panelist here, we have also, please welcome Kasia Tropek. Kasia, or Kat, is a graduate of, or an alumni of the MS in Environmental Sciences and Policy program. And she is also now currently pursuing her MBA at Tuck School of Business at Dartmouth. She also has a bachelor's degree that's focused on economics and environmental science from Penn State University. And Kasia is also an athlete that competed in the 2016 Olympics in fencing. So we're very proud to welcome all three of our panelists from a wide range of skill sets and backgrounds within the energy and environmental programs, alumni and students, and we look forward to listening in on our dialogue. We're a little bit limited on resources. Kim is on a government computer, which is encrypted. I'm going to be Kim's hands and showing the resources that she can't show on her computer because Zoom won't let her. So bear with us. Okay. So Kim, feel free to tell our audience a little bit more about how you got started.
Oh, okay. Hello, everyone. Um, I have always been interested in fully understanding the USA Jobs application process. And I can assure you, once you understand the process, you will be applying and you will be receiving offers for positions because it's a learning experience. I can truly say to you that, well, I started out working as an editorial assistant for the Air Force. But once I completed my master's degree, I felt a need to relocate to the metropolitan DC area. And during that, at that time, that is actually the time that they start announcing jobs on USA Jobs. So what I did, I know before I arrived here in DC, I had applied for over 40 positions. I interviewed, I came up by bus, train, whatever means necessary. But after going, applying for multiple positions, I finally cracked the code. So what I'll say to you is, don't ever stop applying, because when you least expect it, you're going to be receiving calls offering you a position. So keep doing it. It's a learning process, and hopefully I can help you in pursuing additional positions in the federal government. What she's showing you now is a very important mechanism to use when you're applying for the positions in the federal government. This document here, and I'm going to need your help. I'm going to need someone, and I believe I looked at something for Diane earlier. Diane, what's your background again?
Hi, my background's environmental chemistry and policy from all the way many years ago, working my way up. Very strict EPA, QA, QC procedures for all environmental instruments, writing quality assurance project plans that were EPA approved, especially when I worked at Lancaster Laboratories. As a small nonprofit here in the Annapolis area, I was the one that achieved what's called the gold standard and really pushed for citizen scientists to have EPA approval. So I was able to train and get leadership to get that done, written peer-reviewed papers on, especially in estuarine environmental issues, and in fact created a whole new terminology called triplets, which is how teeny tiny streams that are within the Chesapeake Bay area actually contribute to stormwater issues. So a very broad, work your way up type of thing. And I'm interested in working for the federal government and helping Americans bring environmental issues and policy and my technical background together.
Okay, and you're more so on the managerial side. But let me say this right now, and to the audience, the federal government is hiring scientists, engineers. I can assure you, because when the government when they sent us home to work from home, the same individuals who, were there prior to COVID virus will not return due to pre-existing conditions. We've had a lot of folks in my organization who have put in their retirement papers, so they're not coming back. So there are multiple vacancies in the federal government. When you pull up USA Jobs, the first thing you'll see is we're hiring for COVID-19. You see, respond to COVID-19. So there are a lot of opportunities there as well. But based on, if we can get the occupational series back up on the screen, please.
It's back
We're
up.
gonna go to your area. What's your job title right now?
I'm an executive director of a small nonprofit and my own little teeny tiny nonprofit, as well as a instructor at Coppin State University.
Okay, so you're more concerned with the environmental
Right,
aspect.
environmental and natural resources.
Okay, so let's scroll down to natural resources. I'm gonna show you how to maneuver this. If you can scroll down, just scroll down to the
Page 40.
0-400 series. Okay, there we are. This is the series that would be more in line to what you do. But so this is what we're gonna do. I know that if you click on general natural resource management, it's not gonna come up. We're gonna click on the microbiology, because with a chemist background, you qualify for biologist, positions as well. So I need you to click on the blue, click on that. It takes a while for it to come up, but it will.
All right, this is from clicking on the microbiology series.
Yes. Okay, so as you can see, the general natural sciences, all of those areas fall within the general natural resource management and biological sciences. Okay, so we need to scroll down to page 16. They're looking for certain verbiage when applying for these jobs, okay? Okay, as you can see, that these are the areas coverage, that fall under the general natural resources areas. As you can see, these are, you have the name of that group, and then you have the series number, which is important. So let's scroll down a little with biological science group. As you can see, it discusses what, that series entails. So if we scroll down a little more, you'll be able to see exactly what that series, what they're looking for. And you can use some of this verbiage when building your resume. This is what I really wanted to show you. Okay, as you can see, the general series determination guidelines. But the further down we go, it gives you more of a breakdown as to what, what skills are required. Now, slow down for a minute. Okay, just stop and distinguish between professional and technical series. And I want you, Diane, take a look at this. As you can see, it gives you the professional work involved, and technical. Technical is not a professional series. It's the professional work that, gives you the higher grade. But if we scroll down a little more, so I want you to learn how to use this document to benefit you. Okay, so scroll down a little more. If you go into this general schedule supervisory guideline, it'll give you, yes, please keep scrolling down, because there's something important here that I want you to see. Okay, here we go. The verbiage here, you're gonna use when you're building your resume. It's very detailed, and it will take you from a GS5, which is considered an entry level, to the managerial GS15. If you continue scrolling down, but the verbiage you see here is what you want to include in your resume, okay? Because that's what they're looking for when they're determining whether you're qualified or highly qualified. So this is what I want you to use. Everyone, please use this. This is going to help you more than you think. All of the occupational series that are in the federal government that, you know, we're hiring for, not EPA personally, but any federal agency is listed in this document. And don't limit your search. When you're going through this process, apply for everything for which you qualify for. Don't limit it, okay? Because basically you can use this document to see what those qualifications, the qualifications required for that particular job. And every series out there is in this document.
So with like an environmental science and policy degree, you may fit beyond just the 400 level series. You may also fit in the physical sciences group as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Look at all of the ones you could fit in.
Get to learn this. Treat it as though it's a class, okay? Sometimes when you're applying, they'll ask, you know, how familiar are you with the Clean Air Act? I'm using that as an example.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll say, oh, I'm very knowledgeable, or I'm, you know, mediocre. You know, I'm in the middle. What you're gonna do after you apply for that position, you're gonna go back and learn everything you can about the Clean Air Act, okay? I'm just telling you because if you rate yourself low, guess what? Someone's gonna outrank you. But you're gonna learn what it entails. And you're gonna know everything about the Clean Air, Clean Water Act, okay?
Okay.
Keep that in the back of your mind.
Okay. So question, as I build my resume on Resume Builder and USA Jobs, for every single position that I've had, I want to make sure I use all of these, I'll call it the wicket words within all of those. And then that's how they're going to query it to when they're somebody on the opposite end is looking for an employee.
You're applying for a position as, I'm just throwing this out here, chemist at the GS 1314 level. But the document that I've shared with you, guess what? It tells you what the qualifications are at every level, okay? So it's gonna elaborate on that as well. It's gonna give you, you know, the verbiage, the requirements of that position. And all you do is build your resume based on what's, you know, written under that, you know, occupational series. And as I said, there are a lot of jobs in the federal government. And by the way, and I'm sorry for interrupting, half the federal government workforce is eligible for retirement, okay? So that's why it's important that you begin this process now. You know, we're doing a lot of hiring. EPA, and you know, you would be surprised. You probably would qualify for some of these director positions.
Yeah, I can jump in. I think my question is straightforward. You mentioned that there's a range of different jobs that we should actually apply. Could you tell us a little bit about how to write a federal resume for multiple jobs? Would that be even required? And how would that work in conjunction with the USA Jobs profile builder?
Okay, Kate, the first thing you're gonna do, you must build a resume on USA Jobs. And it's gonna highlight, by building that resume, it's gonna highlight all the areas that, you know, you qualify for. You know, you're building your resume. Have you looked at the website yet?
Yes,
you
I
opened
actually
up?
did apply to, yeah. I
Okay,
actually did
but
that before this webinar to kind of, yeah.
no, but and did you use the, you know, the series, job series document that I provided you with? Did you do that?
No, this is a great resource, and I will definitely,
Oh, I want you to get into this document, okay? Because you're gonna apply, you will be applying for multiple jobs. You qualify for multiple jobs. Don't think it's just one series that you qualify for, because that isn't true. And I'm gonna show you an example of, you know, you qualify for more positions that you think you qualify for, because it's about reading the announcement. Totally. You have to read every word of that announcement, and don't assume that you don't meet those qualifications. I mean, your resume is impressive. So now, yeah.
From a certain point of view, I'm sure there are a lot of individuals out there who have very specialized experience and education. And I have to say that the scope of my search, I think, has even widened in this period. You know, thank you for having me. This is very informational. I haven't noticed any requirements for cover letters. I don't know if it's something I missed, but I didn't see that being required for a couple of positions that I have found.
So if it wasn't included in the announcement, please don't send it to them. It would be listed if it's a requirement of that vacancy announcement, okay? They will let you know what they want you to provide.
Other than that, I think the website changed considerably, and I see this is a huge progress. And I'm very happy, you know, that this, you know, happened in the last few years. So it's a good resource for, you know, for graduates who are looking for jobs now. And
please share those, you know, those attachments with your folks, and if for yourself as well, because I did a little research to find the document that provide you with the you know, all of the occupational series in the federal government. I you know, obtained that document off of the Office of Personnel Management's website. When you're applying for a federal job, once you hit the send button, that your resume goes directly to the Office of Personnel Management and then to the hiring agency, okay? So any job, you can't just hand a resume to a federal, you know, a federal agency. It has to run through USAJOBS, which is, you know, which is also a part of the Office of Personnel Management. It's their system. They developed it, okay?
now, one thing I noticed that there are a lot of other websites, and some of them have federal in the domain of the site, in the URL. And I guess that might be confusing as to whether.
Don't use it. This is the Bible. USAJOBS, when you're applying for federal positions, is the Bible, okay? You know, you can go to, let's see, if you go into keywords, you can put in like NSA. What will happen, all of the jobs that are, you know, being advertised at NSA will appear. Now you can, you know, you can narrow your search, but I can truly say to you guys, do not just search for positions, don't just say specific, like a biologist positions, because you're narrowing your, the jobs that you qualify for. You base it on grade. You base it on, well, you have to do open to the public. If you're a veteran, there is a box that, this right here, these are just some of the coronavirus's positions. And if you could scroll down to the bottom, please. As you can see, well, that's a technician. That's not a professional series. But there are, now this is just for coronavirus. There are over 50 pages here of positions that are available right now under this hiring for COVID, okay? But that's not everything that, is available in the federal government. They just put that out there due to what's going on. You're gonna just go, if you can I get you to open up one? We're gonna look at that real quick. I want you to open up, scroll up one more beyond firefighter.
You want me to do a search for one?
Yeah, no, we're just gonna click on one. I want to show an example of, how this works. Health system specialist, click on that.
Okay.
This particular job is for 1 year, but guess what? Once you complete 1 year, okay, this is what I want you to do. Go down to qualifications. If you make that the first thing that you do, and you can see that they have job, okay. So this is for just one job in particular. That, these are some of the requirements for this particular job. That's the first thing you do when you open up an announcement. Go directly to those qualifications. A lot of times the title of the position is not what may be, reflected under the qualifications. They can call it whatever they want to call it, program management, but the best thing for you to do is go directly to qualifications, and then you'll know what that job entails, what those requirements are. Okay, so it gives you, the kind of specialized experience they're looking for. As you can see, you can have the specialized experience or the education. It's just a lot of variables, and it's so important to read that announcement and, the qualifications for that position. Don't just skip over it. You have to, read it like you're studying for a class, a test, because you'll miss something if you don't do that.
Hi, Kim.
Hi,
For my question, if we back up, Jen, and actually look in those COVID projects and just do a filter for U.S. Air Force.
Okay, what you'll have to do, okay, yeah, put Air Force. Put it in keywords.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So
The COVID, there's a lot of COVID positions that have a wide range of GS scale, so it seems like a pool.
Okay, let me say this real quick. Okay, scroll back up a little. This is what you do. You're gonna go click on open to the public. Are you a vet?
No.
Okay, click on hiring path.
Mm-hmm.
It's over to the
I
Right.
said Department of Air Force. Was that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
So
That's-
what are you asking me to do now?
I
Sorry.
want you to roll over to the right of your screen and it says hiring path. No, stop right there.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Yes. Click on the box.
Open to public?
Yes. Yes. Okay. Scroll down a little more. And this is what we're going to do. Click on grade. Click
Oh,
on the box, grade.
oh, okay. All right.
Okay. This is important, you guys.
Yeah, I got my Zoom.
This is going to determine what jobs, whatever we put over here will be reflected on the other side, you know, because we're building. Okay, so click on GS 9, 11, 12, 13, 14. The positions that are reflected here is not saying that you qualify for all of them, but a lot of them you probably will qualify just based off of your education. And when you throw experience in the mix, you're qualified for a lot of the positions, more than you think. You want to click on, so what are you interested in doing?
So my question would be perhaps this one on the at the bottom that says, sorry, information technology specialist would be a good example. If you look at it, it shows that it starts at a GS4 and raises all the way to GS15.
That's right.
There's a lot of these, especially from the Air Force and
That's
DoD,
right.
that reflect a
That's
pooling,
right.
it seems. So my question is, what would the pros and cons be for graduates like us at Johns Hopkins in applying to these pooling?
You have a master's, correct? Do you have a
Hopefully.
master's? And then you have,
We will soon with this.
okay, but you also, I remember you said you're certified in various areas, right?
Yes, yes.
All the locations that are available here.
Yeah, that's right. These,
Yes.
it
Yeah.
pretty much lists everywhere in the
Everywhere.
country, right?
Yes. But you see, wait a minute.
You want me
Let's
to go
go
back?
down. Keep going.
Okay, I was going to qualifications because you always
Okay,
tell me
you're
that's
right.
the place to go to.
Okay, so let's stop here.
Okay.
This gives you at the various grade levels, you know, the kind of experience they want. Now remember, your experience doesn't have to be in the federal government. You're gonna articulate what your experience is wherever you've worked in the past. Okay, scroll down to 13, 14, because that's probably the grade level that you're right here. That, yes, that's the grade level that you qualify for. 13, 14. Yes, it's on the handbook. It's in the handbook, yes. You see, when you see at the 14 level, is that you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm not IT specialist, but I get the picture.
Okay.
But in as terms of what they're hiring, you know, that doesn't generally specify that they have an open role.
No, I don't know. When you say open road,
like they're actually seeking a particular role to fill. Is this something that they actually are seeking someone in each of these GS scales? They post GS 14 and 15, or is this just to put your resume on hand for?
Oh no, that's not true. This
They're
is
actually
continuous opening. I can assure. Well, this is specifically for the coronavirus.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
Sorry.
When they look at, you know, from entry level to, you know, the GS 14, 15 level, they are hiring in those areas. They are.
Okay.
They wouldn't post it if they weren't hiring for these positions. Now, it's not going into, your resume is not going into a box, but I don't want you to limit your search to DOD.
Oh, absolutely. Is there any contract vehicles such as CTAPs, or I know that applies only to government agencies and so. Are there any actual vehicles that are available? I know there used to not be. Anything that applies for us contractors as far as like a career transition or anything of that nature?
And the only thing is you need to apply. Now,
right. Okay.
No. Get out, no. And once you build the perfect resume, man, you are gonna be fine. I guarantee you, I promise you, they want you. You have the skills they're looking for. You're considered highly qualified, and you need to take advantage of that. You've not done it. That's the problem.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So we can have Tasha moderate our chat and give voice to questions in our chat. If that's cool, Tasha.
Absolutely. So we have a lot of questions in our chat function right now. So I'm kind of go through them and read them off one by one as they populated into the chat. The first one says, does in-grade time make a difference? I will have finished my master's in communication from Johns Hopkins next year and regularly get denied for jobs I'd applied to for USA Jobs due to not having any time in grade for a GS position.
Okay, in grade, I guess I'm kind of thrown off because every job, like I'm a 13, okay, but you have the grade, the GS 13, but it goes in steps. GS 13, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's considered within grade. So I need her to elaborate more when you're saying within grade. I'm kind of thrown off there.
Don't you have to be in grade a certain period of time before you're open to promotion potential?
You mean to the next grade?
Yeah.
1 year.
Yeah, 1 year, right?
1 year.
But maybe that's different if you're applying for a job that's the same grade level, or if you're applying for a job that's the next grade level up, you might be able to argue that you've gained experience in some other way.
Yeah, and that's what you have to do.
By volunteering.
You have to be able to elaborate in writing
Yeah.
that you possess these skills. And guess what? When you're interviewed, they have to prove that you don't, possess those skills.
Yeah.
And they can't, because you have to wait 1 year before applying for another grade. But professional series, you go from a GS 7, 9, and the next year you qualify. Okay, you start in at the 7 or 9 level. That's considered entry level. You go from a GS 7, and the next year you qualify for a 9, and the next year you qualify for 11, and then after that is 1 year interval. And the next year is a GS 12, and then the following year is a 13. So as long as you have a fully successful rating, you would automatically qualify for your next grade. And please, if any of you guys have any, questions, shoot me an email. And then we can, talk offline.
And I can share her email address and any of the attachments with our viewers today that did not get them yet.
Yeah, it's that simple. I'll respond.
There's been a lot of people asking for your email, so that's great to know. We'll send it whenever we send out the recording next week as well. Another question that we received was about positions that someone had applied to a month ago, and they said that they still see that the position is there and it's posted, but they haven't heard back from anyone.
Okay, so that the position is still being advertised, or I guess, is it?
Well, he says that he's been referred a month ago.
Okay. Oh, and that's the other thing I want to mention. On each announcement down at the bottom, there is a name of the person handling that particular vacancy announcement, and they provide you with the person's name, their email address, and their telephone number. Please call these folks. That's their job, to assist you in understanding where you stand in the, review process. That's what that number is for. That's the personnel official. Please reach out to them, shoot them an email, and call them on every announcement. There is a point of contact listed at the bottom of the announcement.
Great. Another question that came up was I guess the question is more about, are there jobs that are posted that are really designed and they have someone in mind for that position, someone internal, and can you determine by just looking at the job posting if that's already intended for someone else?
One good way of, knowing whether or not it will be just an internal announcement, but you know what? That's the risk you take. What I'm saying is, once you get in the habit of constantly applying for positions, you would, you take risk, but it gets more internal at the higher grade levels, but it's not supposed to be that way, because they could have kept that announcement within the organization. Only individuals from within can apply. And there are a lot of announcements like that, but for the most part, you're good. It's at the higher grade that they're considering someone from inside that particular office. But don't let that deter you from applying, please. I was kicking out a lot of, resumes, to the various agencies until I got the call saying, Kim, you have the job. So that's the way you have to approach this.
Great, thank you. Another question asked, is it better to tailor the resume to the job description or to the handbook that you sent to all of us?
Please use that handbook because it's going to give you the verbiage you need to reflect in that resume. You can cut and paste from there, but you have to build your resume, because that's how it even gives you the score categories, how you rank, the number of points required. Get into that document, understand what, how this system works. That's the best document that you can have while pursuing positions in the federal government. Please learn what's in there.
Great. And just to clarify, we will be sending out those documents again whenever we send out the recording. I know a lot of people are saying on here that they weren't able to access it, so we'll send it out again. Another person said, thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you for participating.
They said that they were once given general advice that when applying for any job that you should look for something with an 80% match of the requirements. Would you say that that is true for the federal job application as well?
That is not true. not, okay, I'll say this, not within the federal government. I can't speak on private industry, but within the federal government, that's far from the truth.
What would you say is the truth? What percentage?
You're applying for everything for which you qualify for. And you have to, you know, fully understand what the requirements of that job is and build your resume accordingly. You know, like I said, you qualify for more than what you've done in the past or what your educational background is, because the majority of the entry-level positions, you qualify based on the fact that you've obtained a degree. And, you know, if you know, the individuals on the line now, you read the requirements of that position. And I'm right now, I'm referring to the entry-level positions, but that, you know, it's the same for all the positions.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Another question is, do you have any advice for students seeking government jobs outside of their immediate field?
Of course. Okay, so what are the programs that she's referring to now is the Pathways program. There's a Pathways program, recent grads, and then there's a Pathways program, internships. You know, you obtain an internship for the summer. There are a lot of different variables there. We've hired at EPA, we've had students who have been with us since they were 16 years old. They have worked for my agency and they have since been hired permanently. And, you know, they have years of federal service now, and they're in their late 20s, early 30s. So there are different paths, you know, to obtain a position in the federal government. And then you have the Pathways program, internship program. So I'm familiar with both programs. So if you have any questions, you know, feel free to shoot me an email. But one thing for sure about summer internships, you cannot wait until April or May, even though there are some being advertised right now. But the time to begin the process of applying for these positions is in January. Oh, one more thing I need to throw out here. The rule of thumb is for most agencies, you begin the process of applying for these positions one semester prior to graduation. You know, DOD hires a lot of folks. You know, a lot of them, they give you a 9-month, you know, they'll bring you on. And once that, you know, you walk down the aisle, you know, you're good. They're gonna hire you. There are other programs out there available to you guys. So, you know, just shoot me an email. I'll assist you with your searches.
Do we have time for one last question, I think, to round things off?
Okay.
Or, is that okay?
Yeah, sure. Oh, can I say one more thing?
Oh, yeah.
Right now, for the most part, everyone who works for the federal agency is working from home, and they are still hiring while we're working from home. So a new employee will have a laptop mailed to them.
Oh, that's nice.
They will do their training and, you know, from home. And every job in the federal government, you will be trained to do.
And then, so Tasha, did you have one last question, or if not?
Jasmine is saying, of course, Jasmine, send me a email. I saw her message. That's why I said that.
There are many other questions, although many of them might just have to email you after our webinar. Jen, would you like to ask the last question?
Oh, for me to ask the last question? Oh, no, I meant, did you have one from the chat? Sorry.
Oh, yeah. So one of the other questions, I'm just picking one out of the hat because there's so many right now.
All right.
Are there going to be other jobs after COVID-19 is all cleared up?
No, okay, I'm sorry. There are jobs now. This is irrelevant about COVID. That's just one way of coming in. Oh no,
I meant that would be working from home. Will there be work from home opportunities?
As we speak, everyone's working from home. Unless you're mission essential. Everyone's working from home. And I don't see us going back to the office for a while now. I know the folks at the post office, those in the, the white collar positions, they've already received a note indicating an email saying, as of today, they're not scheduled to come back till June, but things aren't looking well. And I think we're going to be out longer than that. We'll be working from home. As long as you have portable work to do, you'll work from home. There's no need to go in the office.
And it's common, I think, too, for the federal jobs in the DC area to at least to work from home several days a week.
Oh yeah, yes, that's called telework. Yes, and we've been doing that forever.
So usually on the job listing, it'll address, there's a telework heading.
It'll say yes or no, but I can tell you, even if it says no, right now
they are.
Still working from home. It's okay.
So that's a good question. And something to also ask during an interview, if someone gets an interview, is will the telework continue?
Another good question to ask is, is there funding for student loans?
That's a really good question.
Oh, and if you're concerned with that, please, whatever you're concerned with, ask them up front.
Yeah, that's actually a really good question.
Yeah.
We should have maybe mentioned that earlier.
A lot of folks, recent grads, well, will they help with my student loans? Well, if you don't ask, you won't know. Ask them.
Well, thank you very much, Kim. And I want to thank our panelists. Thank you, Diana. Thank you, Michael. And thank you, Kasha, for joining us and for having a chance to have a dialogue with Kim. And I know we probably have even more questions than we did before we started, because once you start going into the USA Jobs wormhole, there's more questions. We will email out the resources that we shared today and probably even additional ones that we didn't get to. And we will share Kim's email. And if it's okay with our panelists, I'll talk to them later if they're up for sharing their emails or not. But we will be in contact with our viewers for today. So thank you very much. And the recording of this will be posted on the Johns Hopkins University Advanced Academic Programs YouTube channel within a day or two. So thank you, guys.
Okay,
and thank you,
bye-bye.
Kim. Thank you, Dr. DeRosa.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, guys.